burned the bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that Adolf Hitler died under the spot where we're standing. There are people who say he got away and went to Venezuela and he's still alive
Yes,
down
all
there.
the stories.
But
He went to Florida, yeah.
Oh, to Florida now.
Yeah, he's in Sarasota.
Sarasota.
He went to visit her.
getting his hair cut down there.
But it must have been happened here, somewhere here, no? Of course.
Well, okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, there are also people who say Elvis is still alive.
Oh yeah, that.
Well, he is,
in
right?
Carolina.
Well, they did say, well, we did hear that that they found his and Eva's buddy, the Russians. They found the buddy and dug it
Yeah,
up.
I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Sorry.
You're going to disprove that.
Now.
So, as soon as the fighting was over, the Soviet military intelligence, the Schmerch, I love that name, it sounds like something from James Bond. The Schmerch was sent on a mission, find Hitler dead or alive. So they came here to the ministry, to the chancellery. In the bunker downstairs, they found the 6 Goebbels children. Ava had poisoned her 6 children. By the way, I knew I forgot to tell you something. Goebbels had a villa right over there, looking out on the Tiergarten. And he had a bunker behind his house. He could have easily stayed over there, but he wanted to be over here with the Führer. So on the 22nd of the month, he brought his family over here. I think he would have loved to know that that spot where his villa used to be is now part of the Holocaust Memorial.
That would make him laugh, wouldn't it?
Yeah, turning through.
So they found the Goebbels children poisoned down in the bunker. Then they came up here in the garden and they started digging around and they found 2 shallow graves with 2 partially burned bodies in them. They didn't have really much time to dispose of Goebbels and his wife. So it was proven that Goebbels had shot Magda in the head and then shot himself. Then they dug around some more and they came across 2 well-buried bodies and very badly burned bodies. And now, my ex-profession, dentistry, comes to play a part in the story. Because just by chance, the Schmerch came across Hitler's dental assistant. And she drew them a little schematic of some unusual bridge work that Hitler had done. They were able to match that up with one of the skulls, so they knew that that was Hitler. The Schmerch did a very crude autopsy, declared that both of these people had died of cyanide poisoning. And then they took these 2 burned cadavers over to the city of Magdeburg. Magdeburg actually is west of here, but within what became East Germany. And the Schmerch took over a building there and made it their headquarters, and they reburied these 2 bodies in a courtyard in that building, and they stayed there until 1970. And in 1970, the Schmerch was going to turn that building over to the Stasi. But before they turned the building over, they dug up what was left of these 2 corpses. They reburned them, and they dumped the ashes in a sewer in Magdeburg, and that's the truth. What happened to the bunker? Well, right after the war, the Russians tried very unsuccessfully to blow it up. But 10 feet thick reinforced concrete is pretty hard to blow up. And they finally just gave up, and they threw dirt over it, and it stayed that way until the East Germans came in here to build these apartment buildings.
Really?
They knew they were going to have to deal with the bunker issue. So they scraped some dirt off of the roof, they drilled some holes in, they put explosives in, they imploded whatever they could of the roof into the rest of the structure. They then flooded it, they then poured gravel in there, and then they built this parking lot over it. Until 2 years ago, there wasn't even a sign that said this is where the bunker was, because I think the combined German government was a little concerned this might become some kind of a neo-Nazi shrine.
Oh yes.
It never did, and so now there's a sign that tells a little bit about the bunker. So in effect, it's still down there. nobody's ever going to see it again.
Part of the bunker is still there.
Yeah,
The
unless
concrete
you know,
and-
maybe some archaeologist in 500 years, if we human beings are still around, will dig it
Well,
up.
I think you can't blow up a bunker like that. It's not possible because of the fat walls.
Yeah, the whole purpose was not to
It's
blow
not
it
possible.
Yeah, right. Well, you could
Or to
use one of
prevent it,
these.
yeah.
They have these new bunker bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's still down there. So I want to end the tour this afternoon with a couple of little vignettes and some philosophy. I'll do the vignettes first. The first one took place 8 years ago. I had an Israeli couple on the tour, and they wanted to follow me back to the zoo station, but the wife said she had something to do first. So she went over here on the grass, she did something funny with her body, and we were walking back to the station, and I said, "What did you do back there?" She said, "I promised my mother someday I would dance on Hitler's grave." This is as close as I could come.
Great.
That was funny.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And almost about the same time, maybe a few months later, one of the residents was driving out here just as I was finishing up my talk, and he stopped his car here and he gave a little toot on the horn, and we all looked over, and he rolled down the window, and he stuck his head out, and he said, "Adolf doesn't live here anymore."
They have great sense of humor, huh?
So the philosophy. When I think about Adolf Hitler, you could actually say that this one human being, this one person, was responsible for the deaths of over 52 million people in the Second World War.
Yeah.
The suffering of who knows how many hundreds of millions more. The physical destruction of a good part of Europe. The reason I do these tours is I think it's important, especially for young people, to know this piece of history. And I get a lot of young people on the tour, so that makes me happy.